This gentleman seems calm and educated, but he can be savage and a psycho. While most people will use him as a healer, he can be something totally different. This is the classic RPG BioSynth Rising, and today we'll take a look at the Blood skill tree for the Sergeant class. It's the path of the blood. You'll never guess what it's about, so I'm just telling you. Its specialty is inflicting bleeding to enemies. Now, you have to know that bleeding is a devastating status when your build supports it properly. Let me explain. Bleeding is always associated with a number, for example, bleeding 3 or bleeding 6. When you first inflict the bleeding status, you also deal damages equal to the associated number. So, bleeding 3 will deal 3 damages right away when becoming bleeding. This status lasts for some turns. The exact number depends on the skill or object that you are using. At the beginning of each turn, the bleeding character will receive damages equal to the bleeding intensity. So, a character with bleeding 3 will get 3 damages each turn for as long as he's bleeding. Now comes the cool part. Bleeding stacks. So, if you inflict a bleeding 4 to a character who is still bleeding 3, he becomes bleeding 7. You can see how powerful this is. If you can keep adding bleeding to a character, you'll be able to deal a lot of damages in a few turns. Obviously, this strategy has its limits too. A limit is that you have to drag the combat long enough to profit from bleeding, so surviving is essential. Another example is that you can't make a robot bleeding. To tell it all, the Sergeant isn't that good against robots in general. To properly deal with them, you'll need something else, something that we'll talk about another time. Back to the Surgeon, that's savage. The path of the blood doesn't stop at bleeding. In fact, the Sergeant can blind and cripple enemies, dealing some strong negative statuses. This can be very useful in combat. And to survive long enough, you can have your Sergeant leech health points from enemies, or simply mix his skills and make a hybrid with both healing and offensive skills. After all, the great thing about the BioSynth Classic RPG is that you can pick all the skills you love, without limiting you to a single skill tree. Thank you for watching, and if you too want to build a savage Sergeant, subscribe, it's worth it. Also because we still have to talk about another kind of crazy Sergeant.